It's time once again for another episode of the Buckhead Business Show. Being brought to you by the Buckhead-Business-Association. Broadcasting live from the Pro Business Channel studios in Atlanta. And now, here's your host for today's episode.
All right, Rich Casanova here for another exciting episode of the Buckhead Business Show, being brought to you by the Buckhead-Business-Association and in our beautiful Buckhead studios overlooking Buckhead. How many times did I get Buckhead in there, Craig?
3-4 times.
I counted 5. Yeah, I get $1.50 every time I mention Buckhead. By the way, what's the math on that? I'm up to $7 now, or
you're getting there.
Yeah.
You're getting there.
All right, yeah, cha-ching, nice, yeah. All right, so speaking of cha-ching, we have some money makers, movers, and shakers here joining us in the studio, and alongside our co-host here for today's episode, Craig Williams. How are you today?
I'm doing great, man, and it's beautiful outside.
Right?
Beautiful.
I mean, just amazing day. Yeah.
Got some liquid sunshine last night, and now we've got the literal sunshine out now.
Yeah, this is like the all-weather channel here, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's kind of get into today's show. We're going to just briefly introduce each of our guests. We're going to have you just, if you would, kind of just give us a little teaser what you might be chatting about today before we get into our first guest. So before we introduce our first guest, let's say hi to Michael Moore joining us, returning back to the studio. Michael, how is your day today?
Good morning, Rich. It's just great. You know, like Craig said, this liquid sunshine went away last night, and the cold weather went with it. It's almost a spring day. Did you see the robins on the way in?
Yeah, we I don't know, but we made that happen for y'all. Yeah, so just for this occasion. And yeah, speaking of Buckhead, you're a longtime standing member of the Buckhead Business Association. You'll be chatting about that, I imagine.
I left my 20-year pen away today, but yeah, I've been quite a few years, right?
Former president.
And chief troublemaker some days.
Nice, yeah.
We're going to be talking about our annual luncheon and why everybody in the city needs to be here to figure out what's going on in our community and enjoy Flourish just next week.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously we've been talking about membership benefits for the BBA, and you're a chief storyteller. So I'm going to put you on the spot here in a moment, give you a minute to think about it. I want you to tell a great story about the Buckhead Business Association and some of their goings-on.
We have some we can't put on
Not
radio,
yet,
Rich.
not yet. Yeah. We'll save one for our audience here. So, and also joining us in the studio, we have Whitney Kemmerick from LEGOLAND. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so how are things at LEGOLAND these days?
Exciting. We have a lot of new changes coming up this year, a lot of new developments and attractions coming. So
nice.
We have a lot going on.
And before the show, we were talking about building a Lego project next time and recreating our microphone or...
We're going to do that.
Yeah,
we are.
Could you make a Legoland of me?
Yeah, we can. We've done busts before. We can do that.
Oh, yeah? Maybe because I have a face for radio. Maybe I look better in Lego blocks. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, we can definitely try.
And I'm sure they got enough blocks for that head.
Exactly. So. Yeah, I've been called a blockhead. Yeah, so yeah. Meanwhile, I don't know if is that the technical term for Lego, or they're Lego squares, or what are they called?
Lego bricks, Lego
Bricks,
pieces, Lego sets.
Or just Legos.
Yeah, yeah.
No Legos.
They're a brand unto themselves. Yeah. What's that?
No Legos. Legos are not a thing.
Oh, they're not.
No, it's Lego bricks, Lego pieces, Lego sets.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, I thought we knew
I
everything.
just blew your mind.
You did.
Yeah,
Well,
it'll be back soon,
I
I'm
did.
sure.
I blew your mind.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm going to need to take a break here and contemplate
no
this.
Legos. What?
Wow, that's bizarre. All right, so so while we recover from that aha moment, we're going to jump into our first guest. Actually, returning to our studio, Pete
Canalichio.
Canalichio.
Good morning.
Yeah, we practice that so much for practice. Yeah, Canalichio.
Perfect.
Let's all say that together.
Canalichio.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are just making me so happy.
All right, so Pete, I'll just start with your bio here. Share with our audience a little bit about yourself. We'll jump into what brings you here today. But I've known you for a while. A few things I didn't know about you. Award-winning naval aviator and instructor pilot.
Thanks for your service.
You're welcome. Yes, way back in the day, but yes.
Okay, so that wasn't like a couple weeks ago, or
I still have a license. I don't fly as much as I'd like, but yes, I enjoyed it. Flew all over the world. It was fun.
You can fly one of those. What's the device? The drones? Can you fly a drone? Maybe.
I'm probably better behind the yoke or a stick than I would be flying a drone.
Yeah, well, you sound great behind the radio, so we'll start with that today. So you're also the president and founder of Licensing Brands, which was a lot of conversation about that, obviously. But also, in addition to your up in the air naval aviator position, you've worked with companies of the likes Coca-Cola, Liberty Mutual, Kmart. Are they still around, or?
They're still around and still kicking, yes. And they do brand licensing, so it's interesting to be able to work with them.
I have been seeing a lot of their advertising. And actually, that's how I broke into my radio career. I've never shared this, but back in the day in Virginia Beach, I ran the blue light special at Kmart. And the
Wow.
and I'm. You're looking at me
So
like
here to talk
Craig
about
is.
it.
So you were on the mic. Were you in the store?
I was in the store. Yeah, I worked
Okay.
in the department, and did the blue light specials. Attention shoppers, right now for the next 10 minutes, and 10 minutes only. Yada yada yada.
Wow.
Meanwhile,
Yeah, so that
that was the
launched
beginning of my career. So, but also Card Scan. You worked a $20 million global technology business.
Yeah, CardScan was owned by the Newell Rubbermaid Company. So when I was at Newell Rubbermaid, I ran Rubbermaid's global licensing business for a little over 2 years, and then got promoted to run their CardScan business, which was great. It was a multinational business, and scanning your business card and then put all that analog information
time.
into digital for you to manage. And unfortunately, that gig didn't last very long because of the global recession. But I'm here because of it, so it's all good.
Yeah.
So everybody, raise your hand if you used Card Scan in the past. Whatever. Yeah. So that's great for radio.
That's most hands. That was most hands.
It was a clear majority. I know that.
I think it was all the men in the room.
The ones that can't type, right?
Exactly. Yeah. All right. So, and speaking of Rubbermaid, Newell Rubbermaid, they had a major real estate shift here in Atlanta.
Yeah, they just got acquired, or they just merged with. I'm drawing a blank on Jardin, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Out of Miami or South Florida. So that's a big move, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with that.
Big time. And now we're going to fast forward to Olympics. You got so much Olympic background. Share a little bit about this. I mean, in sports marketing.
Yeah, so I when I was at the Coca-Cola Company, I transitioned from finance into marketing, and I did that in 1996 doing sponsorship negotiations. And of course, the Olympics were here in Atlanta, which was phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
And from that, I got introduced to the director of worldwide licensing, a woman named Lorianne Goldman, who, if you recognize the name, she ended up being the CEO or president of Spanx for a number of years.
Okay.
She recently left that role. But she recruited me to be the event merchandising manager, which basically meant I managed all the co-branded licensing for Coca-Cola as it related to programs around the Olympics and FIFA World Cup and NASCAR and other events like that. So that's where I cut my teeth learning about licensing, and worked on the Nagano Olympics and France '98 World Cup. And Coke, for all the good reasons I like to think, have asked me back to work on a number of Winter Olympic Games. It's funny, I can never figure out how to get the Summer Games, but I worked on Nagano and Salt Lake, a little bit on Torino and Vancouver and Sochi. So yeah.
You should just show up in Brazil and just with a clipboard, right? You're good to go.
I'm here. I have a uniform. It's probably too warm because I've got all these winter coats, but oh well.
Man, and I'm just looking at a bunch of other stuff. We'll have to have you come back, talk about the World Cup and all this other amazing stuff you've done in your career. But let's fast forward to today, and you have a book now. What's the status of that? Tell us about your book. It's Lasso the World.
Yes, it's called Lasso the World, and it's the second part of it is reframing how brands expand. And this is something I've been contemplating for about 5 years. Ever since I started my business 7 years ago, I was like, okay, who's out there? Who are the brand licensing thought leaders, and what have they written about? Mm-hmm. And I dove into my research and found there weren't that many books on the subject. And when they were on the subject, they were written typically by attorneys. So good information, but nothing about like any story, no Malcolm Gladwell-esque kinds of books. And I thought there's too much rich information here not to have one. And so I said, okay, I'm going to write one, but I'm going to write it when I'm ready and I know it will be accepted. So I went to a couple of workshops in New York City with some best-selling authors and started to hone my skills on how to do this and how to understand the marketing of a book. And finally, I decided, you know what? I'm so darn busy. I'm going to find a ghostwriter.
Oh, yeah.
And I almost went down that path, only to realize that probably it was better for me to write. And then ultimately, the gentleman that I was going to have help me ghostwrite, who's a brand strategist, said, "Why don't we just co-write the thing?" And I was like, that's a pretty cool idea. His name is Mark DeSoma. He's from New Zealand. Yeah, and so I should wake him up and have him on the call on the show today. But
he's not here.
No, I saw him on Twitter on New Zealand and everything else. Yeah. And now I'm going to turn things over to Craig because this is right in your wheelhouse. Craig, Global Authority Agency. You've spent many years with authors and publishers. So Pete, you're in Craig's hands now. Yeah, go.
Outside of I wanted to ask what the audience. What was that audience that you were targeting for your book?
So I really want to write a book that anyone that's interested in business would find interesting, entertaining, and informative. And, get beyond the industry, because I don't want to talk to myself or ourselves. I want others to realize there's phenomenal brand licensing going on everywhere. If you think about all these big brands, Disney and Harley Davidson and Coca-Cola and, Knoll Rubbermaid, they all have brands, but those are corporate. And then you have all of the entertainment brands. In fact, I was mentioning earlier that I'm going to have the opportunity to interview the gentleman that ran Fox's licensing business, Fox 20th Century Fox. He was first one responsible for the Star Wars brand licensing before Star Wars even launched. So I can't wait to interview him. So we're pulling on all these subject matter experts to lend their stories to what we know, to give a full breadth of, hey, all this stuff that's been going on, how cool is this? And maybe you've known about it, maybe you haven't, but it's going to be fun.
So you're still writing the book, or it's complete?
No, we're still writing. This is a long
it's a
process.
working process. Yeah.
We basically formed an alliance, Mark and I, last May, and he honed my book proposal. And then from there, we've written a marketing plan, and there's about 11 chapters, and we've written 4 of those 11 first draft. And so we've got about 7 more. And
when do you project that it'll be complete?
So we're earmarking to have the book written by the end of this year, but probably looking at publishing sometime spring to summer of next year.
And so you're going to self-publish?
Well, I don't know that yet. One of my clients is Entrepreneur Media, and they said, hey, Pete, we have a publishing arm, so let's talk about this. And we're very excited about them potentially being our partner. We've sent them the proposal. We've sent them the marketing plan. We've sent them 2 sample chapters, and they're looking at it now. So if it turns out that they end up publishing, that'll be just great.
So the idea is not so much to sell a bunch of books, but to promote the level of credibility or expertise and share those secrets and that experience that you have?
Exactly. And one of the things that I did when I first launched my business was to write a number of self-help tools and self-study courses on the subject of brand licensing. What is it? How do I do it? And it's always been this mindset of mine of being an educator. I was fortunate enough when I was in the military to be an instructor pilot. I think Rich mentioned that earlier. Mm-hmm. And I love the opportunity to teach. I'm not teaching this semester, but I taught marketing management the last 2 semesters in Georgia State. And so the idea that if we could use the book as a great way to introduce folks to, getting their skills honed, maybe doing workshops, speaking engagements, it'll be great. So it'll be effectively a really nice calling card, we're hoping.
Absolutely. Awesome. Yeah. All right. Lots more to talk about. Just want to remind our listeners you're listening to the Buckhead Business Show, brought to you in part by the Buckhead-Business-Association. We're having a conversation with world changer here, Pete Canalichio.
Almost.
Canalichio.
Canalichio.
Canalichio. Everybody wants to Canalichio. All right. And so what's a good point of contact for you to find out about brand licensing and
So the easiest way is probably go to our website, which is brandlicensingexpert.com, a brand licensing expert. And just Google the words brand licensing and you'll find us pretty easily, I think.
All right. And obviously, it looks like you have all the other social media handles as well. We'll post those on the site. And a shout out to Mark.
Thank you, Mark. We really appreciate you.
All right. We're going to circle back around in just a moment here. And I'm sure some of our other guests may have questions for you as well. So let's move over to Whitney Kemmerick.
Yeah, good job.
It seems like I'm pronouncing everybody's name with a question mark at the end. Is it just me? Michael Moore?
Yeah, it's just you.
Right. All right. So Whitney, as we mentioned, is a marketing manager at LEGOLAND here in Atlanta, the Discovery Center Atlanta. Genuine enthusiasm for the Lego product.
I do.
All right. You've been with the company since the center opened here March 2012. I think you've been in the studio as well. Mm-hmm. Right. Native Atlantan, studied English at the University of Georgia before moving back to Atlanta with your husband. So welcome back to
Newly married, right?
Newly married, yeah.
Okay.
Well, September.
That's
Yeah.
newly married.
I'm still getting used to it.
All right, nice.
I don't know if you get used to it.
How many years for you?
22.
Yeah, 22. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
All right. So Whitney, talk to us about Legoland. What's your day in the life look like over there?
It's different every day.
right.
Every day. And, we've opened in 2012.
Right.
And since then, we have a new exhibit that comes every year. However, this year in particular, we're getting a very large exhibit. So it's what we call our peak CapEx year, where we do a lot of upgrades to the center. One of which I think will be very exciting for local Atlantans and their families, and that is we are introducing a new 4D movie that is the Lego Movie 4D, A New Adventure. So I'm sure you guys remember a little while ago there was the Lego Movie.
Right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, we're getting our own short version of that. It's about
Dang.
12 and a half minutes long. All the characters are coming back.
Nice.
So we'll have Emmett and Wild Style, and it'll be 4D. So you'll have the movie itself, but then you'll feel some of the effects. It might rain on you a little bit. It might
really?
snow a little bit. So
just,
that's exciting.
Just like outside, yeah.
Exactly.
And that's about my attention span, 12 and a half minutes. Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
perfect, yeah.
That's more than the goldfish.
Yeah, it is, right? All right, so you talked about new additions, and those are how soon is that coming online?
So we launched that next weekend.
Oh, wow.
To the public.
Okay.
It will
First
launch.
quarter.
Yeah. And then immediately following that, about a month later, we are opening a new exhibit called Pirate Adventure Island.
Oh, man.
And it's going to be a huge exhibit in the back of the center. It will
Right.
be replacing an existing area that we call soft play.
Okay.
But it's very well themed. It'll be all pirates. It's much more sensory in that we have a water table. So there'll be a little bit of water play indoors, which is exciting. And overall, it's just going to be an upgrade to that area.
It says a swashbuckling interactive area.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We're going to have fun with Talk Like a Pirate Day. Just
Oh,
right.
nice. Yeah, you get a lot of mileage out of that one.
We will.
So what do folks typically? What's a kind of misperception? What do people not know about Legoland? But also, there's how many other locations, right?
Yeah, so
throughout the
in
country?
North America, I think we're up of 9 Discovery Centers. And then we've got the 2 parks, so one in Florida and one in California.
Okay.
We're all under the Merlin Entertainment's umbrella. And I think that's one thing that there is a misconception. Like, that's a sister property of ours, but it's a theme park. It's
Right.
outdoors. It's a full day experience.
Right.
Whereas we are much more hands-on, indoors, 2 to 3 hours of fun. So we battle that a little bit in differentiating ourselves from
Yeah.
our park friends.
Well, we're kind of, I guess, fortunate here in Atlanta. Then only one of 9, all of North America.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
I think the next closest Discovery Center is Dallas, Fort Worth,
Okay.
and then Boston. I think those are the 2
Yeah.
closest.
But here in Atlanta, and this is at the Phipps Plaza, right?
Phipps Plaza, yeah, we're
Right
up
in
on
Buckhead.
the
Better
third
in
floor.
Buckhead. I mean, it's better in Buckhead.
better in
We got
Buckhead.
Legoland.
I know that is, yeah.
We have a
That's-
Legoland.
Amen, yeah.
Yeah, that is our motto we've created. Buckhead is better.
Yeah.
for the BBA. So, what other crowds do you typically draw? I mean, what's kind of the typical day look like? Do you have folks coming in, they're shopping, and then the kids can kind of stay there, or the parents are involved, or?
Well, we encourage parents to stay and play with the kids, so you can't drop.
not a daycare.
Yeah, yeah. We don't let you drop little Timmy off and then you can go shop. Of course, we support our other retailer
Yeah, absolutely.
friends
It's a
at
good,
Phipps
yeah.
Plaza, so it is a great way to come. Maybe you see a movie, you come do 2 hours at the Discovery Center, and then mom can maybe check out Saks on her way out.
Yeah.
But
Get a burger at Johnny Rockets right there. Yeah.
yeah, you have to try Johnny Rockets and Rock's Chicken and Fries. It's good as well. Shameless plug. But overall, we want you to come in and enjoy the center as a family.
And speaking of, go ahead.
Well, I was just thinking about a good strategy. I remember when my little ones were, my big ones were smaller. And when we'd go to a movie, we'd work them up, and so they wouldn't cry through the movie.
Yeah.
But that sounds like a great place. For the little ones, take them to Legoland, let them get exhausted, and take them to the movie that you want to see, as opposed to the one that they want to
Let
see.
them fall asleep during the movie.
Yeah, precisely. And sometimes you'll see families split. You might have dad and son who are son's maybe a little bit older, so they're going to go and see something at AMC while mom hangs back and plays with the other kids.
Brilliant.
Or the brothers and sisters, the older ones, can kind of help them navigate and stuff. So speaking about age levels or the experience, and how many folks you got some stats here already? How many people come through Legoland in a given period of time, or what's their capacity, I guess? Or
so our volume varies. We are very much in line with the APD school schedule. So if kids are in school, then we're focusing on field trips and those sorts of things.
Okay.
So during the week, we're a little bit slower. We're mainly focusing on our educational programs. On the weekends, we get quite busy. I would say that, now it's really cold outside, so we do well on the weekends. I think we did really well this last week, and I think families were kind of maybe a little bit tired of being indoors waiting on this snowstorm to come that never came. So it varies, yeah.
Do you do much engaging with homeschoolers?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great question. And, we've learned we do educational programs, and all of our educational programs are open to homeschools. So even if you're a small homeschool group, of 3, 5, kids, we will still extend that offer to you. And you have available all of the educational programs we offer to our normal elementary schools and education systems.
That's great.
all right, and speaking on behalf of the Pro Business Channel of Business, do you have corporate functions there, or can big kids come out and do events there? Or?
Yes, absolutely.
Team building, right?
Team building. That's a perfect fit, of course. Exactly. We've had,
I just got that, yeah.
That's okay. We understand.
You're
I think I'm perfect.
I think
for you,
I'm
though,
past my
Rich.
12 minutes here, yeah. What was that, Pete?
I said it sounds like it would be perfect for you, though.
Yeah,
Rich.
exactly. I'm all over it, yeah. Sorry, we got a little
it's
distracted
fine.
there, Whitney, yeah.
We do. We offer those things. We have a monthly adult night event where no kids allowed, just open to adults on
wow.
the third Thursday of every month.
Sounds like a
theme
BBA
it.
outing
I
to me.
think a BBA.
For the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
That's the third.
That's the Young Bucks
Would you say
after
it's the
hours.
third what?
It's
the
the
third
third
Thursday.
Thursday.
Third
That's
Thursday.
That's Young Bucks.
Well, that's going to segue. Yeah.
That's our
Young
after
Bucks.
hours
Well,
too.
I'm going to have Michael take that in just a moment. Let's
run with
sorry, Whitney.
guys
It's that
are
attention
excited.
span kicking in. We got excited.
this-
Yeah,
this
Legoland
is
just brings out the kid in you, right?
Buckhead Business
I'm
Show.
telling
And
you,
it just synergizes.
So let our listeners know what's the best way to find out about Legoland.
The best way is at LegolandDiscoveryCenter.com/Atlanta. Wow. We also have it's a mouthful. We also have a very engaged social media following. So we post very regularly on our Facebook page. It's Legoland Discovery Center Atlanta, as well as our Twitter, which is LDC Atlanta. So you will learn everything you need to about what's going on at the center on a day-to-day basis on our social media channels.
Outstanding.
See, we're following each other on Twitter, I just noticed as well. So
We're friends.
yeah, nice. I got at least one friend, yeah. All right, so
But a lot of likes.
Yeah.
You do have a lot of likes.
Yeah. So Whitney, thanks for a pleasure having you back in the studio here, and it's always a good time. And that's a perfect segue into Mr. Buckhead himself, Michael Moore, joining us in the studio, and the man that needs no introduction.
Well, go ahead and give me one anyway.
Yeah, I just said you don't need one. Yeah,
Catch back up.
I saw that at a speaker event. The guy's a man that needs no introduction. Just gave him the microphone.
That's right.
So Mr. Moore, a longtime Buckhead resident, right?
Long time. I tell people quite honestly, I've lived 40 years inside the perimeter, so I'm pretty proud of it. In the last 20 years, I've lived either at the edge of Buckhead or in Buckhead.
And you and your wife have had businesses over the years here, and your community events and leadership. The Atlanta Dogwood Festival.
Well, you're just reading right down that resume, aren't you?
Yeah, it's got
Very
my show
quickly,
notes right
very
here.
quickly.
Yeah,
One of my proudest functions, I guess, in life when you leave a legacy. I was honored to spend 17 years with the Atlanta Dogwood Festival as part of the board. Started as a volunteer, became a sponsor, became a board member, and just had a great time to carry the Riches tradition on, which they started the Dogwood Festival back in 1936 as an effort to allow Atlanta to begin to enjoy spring again after the Depression. So it's been around for quite a while.
and I'll just jump in a couple more. You can elaborate, but we got Atlanta Canalichio Society, childhood cancer emerged into now is known as Cure.
Well, we all have experiences in our lives. My oldest daughter is a cancer survivor and now has 2 great-looking grandchildren and is 20-plus years in remission, so thank goodness for children's health care.
And I'm seeing about 5 different chambers of commerce you've been involved in. Obviously, the Buckhead Business Association as well, and Ritz Group.
I follow you around all the chambers, and sometimes we drag Craig with us, right? But yeah, I participate pretty heavily in North and South. Right now, my responsibilities encompass all of Fulton County, so from the airport to the South Fulton Chamber, all the way to North Fulton, Johns Creek, and Milton.
There's not a port you haven't touched in Georgia.
There's not a port I hadn't touched in Georgia. That's right.
True mover and shaker.
And your official title is Business Development Connection Executive.
That sounds pretty good.
It does that? Yeah, I'll go with that, yeah. And so talk to us about the BBA and what's going on. You mentioned the luncheon.
Well, yeah, I'm here today representing that once-a-year activity, which is really, really, really a flourish this year, as we say. But we have our annual luncheon each year, normally in January, to transfer officers, as well as give away the Buckhead Business Association Awards of the Year and recognize some very important things that happen, including the most beautiful project in Buckhead, and this year it's a good one, as always. But we'll be meeting next Thursday, the 25th. We'll be down at Flourish, which is, most people remember it as a Chrysler dealership on Piedmont Road.
Okay.
But thank you for Tony Conway, took the vision and saw that redeveloped that property into just really, really a Class A event facility that I was sharing with Whitney earlier. We'll have about 400-plus people enjoying a great day of lunch, and we'll see some great awards. And if you haven't gotten your ticket yet, you need to line up right behind Craig and get that ticket so that you can be VIP parked and have a great day and visit with the people who are important in Buckhead that day. We'll have Dr. Mark Becker from Georgia State University. We'll be talking about, as we say, the rest of Atlanta that day and what Georgia State's doing to contribute to education here in Georgia as well as in Atlanta.
And BBA might be the best buy in Buckhead, right?
BBA is the best buy in Buckhead. Where else can you become part of the elite?
Yeah, not confused with the store with the blue shirts, but I just thought as I was saying that, but it's a good deal, right?
It's a lot of bees.
Right.
A lot of bees. That's a lot of bees. Thank you.
And so folks can join as an individual, obviously corporate.
The majority of our memberships, like chambers of commerce, are small businesses because Buckhead Business Association was started back in the 50s. I believe 1951 is the official date. That was started with Buckhead business owners to actually figure out who was moving their garbage cans at night and who was painting with tempera paint on their windows for high schools or whatever it was. But actually to keep people aware, because most people aren't aware of the changes in Atlanta that occurred when Buckhead became part of the city of Atlanta back in the 50s.
Well, and we're very excited here at the Channel for Pro Business to be the audible voice for the Buckhead Business Association as a media partner. And we've talked about that for a while, and now it's finally, here we are.
Well, you continue to put that thumb screw on us hard enough. We finally acquiesce, and we're proud to come alongside you and focus on the businesses in Buckhead, because we have our own community limits, and we have our own population, and we pay an awful lot of taxes. So thank you for referring to us as a community that does good.
And I think Sam Massell is going to be the keynote speaker at the breakfast coming up here soon. And he often talks about upwards of 40% of the tax revenue is generated right here in Buckhead, right?
I think
the entire city.
I think the official number is we have 19% of the population, 22% of the land, and pay 44% of the taxes. It varies from year to year, but that's about right.
Yeah. So talk to us about small business owners and veterans.
Well, one of the things happening, I have a unique opportunity is I didn't realize my co-visitor here today was a Georgia State instructor, but I have the honor of working with Georgia State and Robinson College to work with small business owners. One of those events took me out to meet with a group called First Data, which has very much is a credit card processing, but it basically is a business facilitation group because they're interested very much in veterans. Matter of fact, our newest vice president of Veterans Affairs is actually a Coast Guard Academy graduate.
Oh, cool!
And a neat guy. Don't know if it's a pilot too, but I'm going to introduce you very soon. But next Thursday, matter of fact, Thursday evening after the Buckhead Business Association luncheon, we're having 120 veteran business owners who are looking to change the financial positioning of their company will be presented to by First Data. We've got a good dinner. As always, good food makes everything better. And then we have a few programs which are guided toward what's available for veterans here in Georgia. And so we're focusing on those people who are 3 months before starting their business and up to 2 years of active business. But 120, 140 of those type of veteran business owners here in our neighborhood, because we'll do it right at the edge of Buckhead on the north loop there.
Well, we definitely want to celebrate those folks or whatever.
And I want to celebrate the two guys in here that we have that are veterans. And
All right.
appreciate your service once again.
A little Army, a little Navy, never hurts, right?
Folks, wow, we are just about out of time here. I might just open it up real quick if anybody wants to jump in. What's a good day look like for you in your business? Anyone?
A good day is one where we see a business owner flourish in our city. I either see a new business or business expand. I do a lot of work with bankers, and let me tell you, that old story about breaking the bottle of champagne on the boat when you launch it goes just like a loan closing. That's what we do.
Nice. And folks can find out about the BBA. We'll give your plug one more time for your business as well, but what's a good day look like for, that's the Buckhead Business?
Buckhead-business.org.
Yeah.
Pretty simple to find.
Absolutely.
And so for me, this is Pete again. A good day for our organization is when we actually see those products or services with the brands out in the marketplace. So when you can walk through a store or get online and see a branded product or service, we're really excited about that. And of course, you can find out more about us at brandlicensingexpert.com.
Perfect.
And a good day at LEGOLAND Discovery Center Atlanta is any time that we send a family away with a memorable experience and a smile. And we can be found at www.legolanddiscoverycenter.com/Atlanta.
All right, well said. Another great episode of the Buckhead Business Show, brought to you in part again by the Buckhead-Business-Association. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for joining us and our guests on the Pro Business Channel. Use the social media links here to share today's show and stay tuned for the next episode of the Buckhead Business Show. Brought to you by the Buckhead Business Association.